All right, welcome back to the channel, guys. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to all my current subscribers that I've got, and for those of you that are watching for the first time, if you would do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button. Your guys' help and support, watching our videos and all that goes a long way with what we're doing around here. And yeah, so thank you. Diving into the video today, as you saw, we are doing race car rescue. We have a brand new project behind us here. To all of you that are subscribers, returning viewers, this is like what we're calling chapter 2 for this channel, because it dawned on me a little bit ago that literally everything has changed around here. So I gotta tell you right now, the 91 Z28 Camaro that we've done all the videos on, the whole LS swap project, it is gone. It is no longer mine. It has a new owner. And yeah, long story, literally our entire lineup of vehicles has changed on the channel. So what we are doing today, we've got a new hot rod under here, new project, gonna introduce that we are calling Race Car Rescue, because, and I've been thinking a lot about how I wanted to introduce this car. It's an awesome car. It's one of my favorite cars. It is already somewhat built. I don't really want to start a deal. I'm gonna watch the comments very closely on these next upcoming videos, because what this boils down to is a difference in standards in the way that people build and put cars together and the things they do with them. I have higher standards than a lot of people. There's a lot of people that have way higher standards than me when it comes to the quality of work, craftsmanship, how it's done. At the end of the day, things work. So when I start showing you stuff on this car and why we're calling it Race Car Rescue, it is not my intention to bash anyone or the previous owner or anything like that. I try and respect anyone and everyone that is in the motorsports industry that does the best they can by their means and what they're willing to do in building their own stuff, because we do the same thing. We're not perfect. But yeah, this car was turnkey, ready to go. It was fast, it worked, but I gotta tear it apart. And actually that's the first thing we're gonna do, is we're gonna tear this entire car apart. We have a handful of things we're gonna change on it, which I'll get into that. And yeah, so let's go ahead and unveil this new project, and then I'm gonna give you guys a walkthrough on it. And the end goal by the end of this video, by the end of today filming this video, is we want to have, Zan and I, my helper, we're gonna have this engine out and on an engine stand so that we can go through it. And yeah, that's our goal. So we're gonna pull this cover off and show you guys what we're working with. All right, here she is, guys. This is the car that I think as of right now, we're calling it the Phony Pony for a couple different reasons. So what we have here, this is a 99 Mustang GT. It is a Cobra clone. It's one of my favorite cars ever. Whoever did the clone on this actually did a really good job. But I think that was a long time ago. It actually had the correct Cobra wing. The side accents, I believe, are correct. It does have the Cobra badge on it. It's got the Cobra front bumper. Those are saline style, I believe, saline style replica wheels. Obviously the hood, being a cowl hood, is not original Cobra, but it's sweet and I like it. So yeah, not a real Cobra, which I'm okay with, because I would hate to actually hack up a real Cobra car, but it looks like one and that's sweet. The other reason why we're calling this the Phony Pony, and I'll be honest with you guys, I was a little nervous about this, because if you are a subscriber, please, I was actually like worried about losing subscribers because of what this car is. It is LS swapped. It does have a 4.8 in it with a turbo 400. Currently has nitrous setup on it, kind of, that worked. I think the guy said it was a 200 shot, I don't know. It does have dual exit exhaust coming out of the front bumper, but as we walk around and you look closer at this thing, you'll see that there's a lot of things that need attention. Some things I knew about, some things I didn't. For example, this front bumper is damaged, paint's not that great, and honestly I really don't know how the front bumper's held on right now. These corners are not right. I don't know if the exhaust is what's keeping it from falling off, but she needs attention, she needs love. Cosmetically, not super great. You also might notice these. I didn't know what to think of those. Apparently that's kind of a thing that some guys in cars are able to pull off, like a little bolt-on wide body kit. I was told that that's why those are put on there. Also in discussion, so this did come with a set of wheels and tires, those ones, but it also came with a set of race stars and some 28, 10, 50, 15 drag tires, and I had questions about how that fit, and I was told that the only thing, that the fenders were rolled. The rear fenders were rolled on this car to help with tire clearance. And then what I didn't know is that I found this out later on after I got it home, and was able to like really crawl around underneath because this car came from a pretty good distance away. But I come to find out that these fenders were rolled with a sledgehammer. That is why these were put on. I think at the time that the fenders were rolled, there also was a discovery that maybe there was some Bondo in the body, and Bondo doesn't flex. So that cracked and broke, looked really ugly. So these were put on to hide it. And I don't completely dislike them. They're gonna stay for the same reason they were put on. I might even get new ones because these ones are kind of clapped out. And I want to see if maybe I can find some thinner ones, but I don't hate it. The interior is the worst color ever. Don't pay attention to these wires running through the door jamb there. This was originally a 6-speed car. 5-speed and 6-speed, I don't know, would have been a 5-speed maybe. It was a manual, originally a manual. Still has 3 pedals. Still has a gaping hole in the center console that was covered with a piece of cardboard. But it does have, you know, shifter in it now. But let's go ahead, pop the hood. Gotta hit the right spot, maybe. Oh, there we go. All right. So as you can see, Gen 4, I believe, 4.8 liter. It does have a pretty decent fuel system on it, which I was pretty happy about that. We're gonna have to go through and double check all that stuff. It does have some nitrous solenoids zip tied to the fuel rail. Here's another nitrous solenoid. Don't know what that is. Don't know it like this. Yep, that's nicely zip tied in place. There's 2 more over here that are zip tied in place. You know, which is what it is. We gotta work it out for us. It does have an ICT billet accessories on the front, water pump spaced out. You know, we did some weight reduction on some bolts there to make some things fit. That's okay. Not worried about it at all. I'm actually super excited about building this car and going through and just squaring some things up and making them a little bit better and cleaner. You know, actually I think it'd be really fun. As of right now, I don't know what's going to happen with the nitrous stuff. I might leave it, I might not, I don't know. But I will tell you, we do already have 2 67mm mirror image turbos in boxes downstairs for the car. So we are going to redo pretty much everything. Again, by the end of the day today, I want this engine out so I can go through it, double check some stuff. And also there's a pretty big issue with when the car cranks over it, it's got kind of like a nasty howling sound, kind of a grind that it makes, which was told that possibly the starter needed shimmed. Don't know. I went underneath, looked at the flywheel. The flywheel bolts are not correct. The flywheel bolts to the torque converter are not correct, which I'll show you that here in a little bit. There's a lot of things that just don't. I'm just going to start from scratch. We'll put it that way. I'm going to take it all apart and check everything out, put it back together the way that I want it. We do already have some parts accumulating for it. Right now, those wheels are heavy and the tires are shot on them anyways, which we're going to keep those for street driving. We did get the race stars with the Hoosiers. Here we have some 26/617 Mickey Thompson Sportsman SR front tires. So I did get some matching. I do kind of like the bronze matching 17-inch front wheels, so we'll have matching front and rear wheels for the car. Right here we've got a brand new set of subframe connectors. They are bolt-on and weld-on. I think for starters, we're going to see what the bolt-on thing looks like, because if this car goes as fast as I want it to in the future, we're going to have to cage it. And at that point, I could be wrong, but I feel like subframe connectors might be dead weight. So if we can get the benefit of them bolted on now, I can take them back off later when we do a full cage in the car, and then we won't really need those. Maybe, maybe not. I said before, I'd pointed to this wing over here. That's the Cobra style rear wing. And if you look in this pile of all my junk over here, there's a big chunk like taken out of it, and the taillight's busted. So I took that off. And right here we have a Motion Raceworks. I believe it is a 15-inch rear wing, drag wing for the car, which I'm pretty excited about that because it's sweet looking. So we got that in the box. We got the wheels, we got the tires, we got subframe connectors. I got some new hardware, all new lug nuts and everything for it. The shifter's not quite correct. The car was a 4L80 car. It's now a turbo 400. So we went from a 4-speed to a 3-speed, I believe. So I got the correct shifter gate for that. Got the twin turbos sitting downstairs for it. What else do we got for it? Oh, the other thing. So it is a somewhat beefed up 8.8 rear end in the car with 456 gears, 8th mile car. Can't have that because we're going quarter mile. So I actually have a set of gears from Quick Performance coming because I love Quick Performance. Order a set of gears from them we are actually dropping down to 355, and we are going to power our way into some hopefully really good numbers at the track. The last car, I had 350s in it with 26-inch tires, so we'll be at 355s with 28s. I can always go down in tire size if I need to, but also like I want to street drive this car. It's full interior still, so I want to street drive it. So we're trying to combo a little bit, so we may sacrifice a little bit of track time for street driving. And street driving's still not going to be that great, but it's all stuff we already know because we did it with the last car. So we're going to aim for, I want to see 800 horsepower. It'd be kind of fun to see if we can get to 1,000, but I don't know if that's, to turn it up that far, probably going to have a spare motor sitting around because I don't know anything about these 4.8s other than they're not a whole lot different than 5.3s. But see, that's the best part about this motor is I had nothing to do with building it. So if I blow it up, I'm not going to care. It's not going to hurt my feelings. I mean, I don't want to blow it up, but. So anyways, that is short story long. We're gonna go ahead and get to work here and start tearing this thing down. So yeah, let's get to it. All right, hood is off. Battery relocation kit we got right there. All of this is gonna get taken care of. We gotta literally just get rid of all of this. All of it's gotta go. Where do you start? I don't even know. Is this just wires twisted? Yeah. Oh man, that's going to the fan. We're not gonna need that anyway, so that's gonna go. We got a much bigger radiator going in it. But anyways, we're gonna start tearing down. I got a job for you that's perfect. You're gonna go around and you're gonna cut every single zip tie you can find.
In the back or?
Yeah, under the hood here. Like
the nitro stuff?
The brakes are held on with zip ties. Wait, hold on. Let's do instructions first. Yeah. Don't cut any wires, just these zip ties that are all over the place. Just very, very nicely and strategically cut all those. And I'm going to continue with the rest. All right, making progress. I got one of the pipes off. I took the coolant bottle off because it wasn't hooked to anything other than the overflow. Now we're going to do something with this cooling fan. And this whole cooling package is going to come out. And yeah, he's still cutting zip ties. I'm going to keep moving forward. All right, little status update. We've been at this for maybe 30 minutes. The fan was broke, so got that taken out. Zan's been cutting zip ties the whole time. All the nitro stuff, cut all the zip ties for those. All that stuff came right out because most of it wasn't hooked up anyways. Most of this wiring is all unhooked from the battery. No joke. Cut a zip tie. Took the exhaust pipes off. Front bumper fell off. So they were literally held on by exhaust pipes going through these holes, which explains why this is nice and crusty. This stuff, I don't think that's the right bulbs for those. Yeah, that one's all super melted. So this is all broken, so I'm probably gonna have to get a new one of these. This is a little, so obviously this was like wrecked at some point, I think. I don't know, I'm pretty sure there should be some, I don't know how this is supposed to hook up, but one way or the other, it's not right. So, add that to the list. This is nice. How chewed up all this is. Anyways, we're cruising right along. The one positive side, plus side of this thing being held together with zip ties is taking it apart is going really fast. So we got that going for us anyways, but we're gonna keep after it. All right, so per usual for us, we got distracted and we started mocking up what we want to do. So here's kind of the general idea. So we've got these little 67, 62 millimeter mirror image turbos, and we want to do something slightly different. I think obviously they're not symmetrical right now because the headers are not symmetrical, and these pipes that came with this car are not symmetrical, but it's gonna be very similar where we're gonna have to have a pipe coming off for a wastegate to hook onto. So there'll be wastegates coming down, but man, we have all the room in the world under here, which is nice. But so yeah, so the idea here is that our exhaust will actually come in, and I want them a little bit closer together. You know, I thought it'd be neat to wire them both pipes together and then wire them right back out and then have them go out the sides of the car. And that way our intake side is facing outwards. So we're pulling cool air out here on both sides. And we can even plumb something. And then we'll have these set in just enough where they'll go, cold side boost pressure will go down, and then it can come, where are we at? Come down around here, and we'll do a 2-into-1 intercooler up front here. And then we're gonna fab up our hood latch on a different, and we're gonna have our pipe come right up here. We'll notch this out. So we'll come right out of the top of this intercooler right into the intake. So this will all be up here. All of our heat exhaust will go down, around, and out. We'll stay cold air on either side, because most of the time these setups, you know, that doesn't make any sense because our exhaust isn't going to go out. And if you switch these around, here, take that turbo out real quick. So if we did something like this, similar to that, now there's no cold air in here. That's all hot air coming off the radiator, intercooler, for the intake. And yeah, we could run our pipes out at that point, like down and out, but I really want to, I'm gonna have our pipes coming together, exhaust pipes. So they will 2 into 1 coming together in a Y. And my theory is, I don't know what the turbo is gonna, I mean, there's gonna be some back pressure with the turbo, but to keep our exhaust pressure flow together, being that the 2 sides are separate, theory in my head is that if I combine those 2 pipes, I will get a better exhaust flow coming out of the turbos. Now the turbo part may just completely omit that being a thing. I don't know, but if I run them together, then I can put my O2 bung right in the center, and I'll be reading exhaust gases on both sides with only one sensor, since we're running twins. So that's just my theory. I'm gonna do some more research on that and see if that's even a thing, if it matters. Worst case, I just won't have the pipes come together, and they'll just go down and around, and that way, again, like our heat stays here and cool air out here, because you're never gonna pull cold air right here. Just not a thing, I think. So anyways, that's kind of a quick little mock-up of what our twin turbo is going to look like. They're going to get that. I'm probably going to build it on a stand with these headers because I really want them to be like nicely symmetrical right here in the center, and then we'll go from there. It's a new day. We are back out here in the garage. I know we said yesterday we were going to try and have this done yesterday. I don't really know what happened. We were cruising right along. I think Xander got tired of cutting zip ties, and the next thing I know, the music is cranked up. Kids were out here having a good time. And then before it was all said and done, we suddenly have a TV hanging on the wall. So yeah, I don't know what happened. But anyways, still digging into the car here. We're working on getting this cobweb of wiring out of the way. If you recognize this, one of the selling points of this car is this does in fact have a Terminator X Max installed on it, which was one of the other big selling points. I had to remove the intake to get all the wiring out of there. Unfortunately, the more I dig into this thing, the more things that I find. Like every step of the way, I find more and more and more. And let me show you what the latest thing I found was, which is pretty concerning. Let me figure out what I did with my flashlight here, right here. So I pulled the intake off, and if you look down in these valves here, it has got oil pooled on top of the valve of every single valve that is closed. That one's got quite a bit. That valve has, I believe that one was open. Every valve has engine oil pooled up on top of it. So not 100% certain as to what that means. Off the top of my head, I can come up with 2 reasons why there'd be oil sitting on top of the valve. Either oil is leaking through the valve guides, valve seals in the head, leaking from the head down in, which supposedly those were new installed, I think. The other thing that I noticed, all these intake runners where the intake was sitting all have a little bit of oil pooled up on them. And the only reason that I can come up with that oil would be coming from the intake is through blow-by. This thing did have, as you can see, one of the crankcase vents is plugged off here. The other one was plumbed. So it's possible that the intake had a bunch of oil in it. Let me know down in the comments what you think. Any other reasons why there'd be oil sitting on top of those valves that wouldn't be catastrophic. If there was that much oil sitting in that intake, that is concerning to me, especially if it was from blow-by, because I think that means it had excessive blow-by. Could be wrong, hope I'm wrong. But again, I can't come up with any other good reason as to why it would be that way. So the car has been sitting since like January 20th, like a month and a half. So it has not ran like in a month and a half. So that accumulation of oil was like, hey, I know that guy. That accumulation of oil was over the course of like a month and a half. But that's still a lot. Like if we fired this thing up right now, I would expect it to blow a lot of blue smoke with that amount of oil in there, which is not good. So once we get the engine out, we're gonna have to dig into that. But I'm gonna keep plugging away at everything, unplugging away everything on top of the motor here. And then we're gonna crawl underneath and I'm gonna show you some even more good stuff that I found. That'll be the last step: bell housing, flywheel bolts, flywheel to torque converter bolts. And then we're gonna get our cherry picker rigged up and hopefully get this thing yanked out of here. So, all right, little update. Got pretty much everything unhooked. Motor mounts are still on. I got a couple of the bell housing bolts out. I'm getting ready to crawl underneath right now. And I gotta tell you, the more that I dive into this thing, the more I approve or I'm happy with my decision to take this engine out. Yeah, the more I dive in, the more I find not necessarily like super bad stuff, but stuff that's just not the way I would do it. And we're gonna go underneath right now. flashlight to get the flywheel bolts off. But let me show you this. This actually could be really bad. So I think I kind of described it at one point. When this car cranked over, it had kind of a growly, howly sound. It sounded like a starter rotation thing, potentially like starter needing shimmed. Oh, I wish I was a little bit bigger for this, but okay. So first things first, you look at that bolt right there. I'm trying to figure out what I was seeing on here. So the bolts are bent, and I'm not 100% sure what. I gotta take my hat off so I can fit a little better here. One of them I saw was like really bad. Yeah, this bolt right here is bent, and if you look, this tab right here, so that bolt's bent, and I don't know why. If it almost looks like this tab right here is not flat. Like maybe there's a decent chance that these holes are supposed to be threaded, and your bolt coming through would thread right into this. I'm not 100% sure, but that's the only reason I come up with. See, this bolt's bent too. And the other thing, this is going to be kind of hard to see. I'm trying to shine up in there. You look at those flywheel bolts that bolt the flywheel to, okay, right there. Why does that one have a washer on it and the rest don't? That can't be right. So yeah, so I'm going to work on solid motor mounts, getting these bolts out, and then my helper's not here right now because he's off being a kid, doing kid things, which is totally fine. But I am gonna wait for him before we actually hoist the motor up. So I'm gonna keep working, and then hopefully by the time he gets back, we'll be about ready to yank the engine out, and then we can get a better look at things. So yeah, the more I look, the worse it gets. But it's all right. We're gonna fix all of it, and we're gonna bring this thing back better than ever. All right. So, of this entire bad news situation, I am happy to announce that it is now a good news, bad news situation. So, I think I talked about when we got this car originally, it didn't want to start because we need, like, it had full voltage, showed 12.8, 12 whatever, 12.7, something like that. You cranked key over, and the car would, and it made like this horrible, like, metal on metal grinding sound every time it'd go around, and the voltage would drop down in like the low 11s. Like something was just destroying the voltage in it. And I was told that it maybe needed a new battery. Well, the battery, it's a Walmart battery, but it was a 24 battery, not that old. So I suspected something different. And then the guy said, well, I think maybe the starter might need shim. That's the noise that it's making. So anyways, I think I figured out here. I got the starter out, and this bearing up here is absolutely toast. That shaft, pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, that shaft should not move like that, which means this thing was like super bound up, and the noise I was hearing was probably this chattering, which is really good news. I would so much rather have to get a new starter for this thing than have something misaligned or messed up on the rotating assembly between the engine and transmission, whether it be flywheel or any of that. So yeah, again, a little bit of good news there. I'm fairly certain that's what that problem is. So as of right now, all of the bell housing bolts are out, the flywheel bolts are out to the torque converter, and the motor mounts are loose. So now I'm just waiting on my little man to get home because he was super excited about craning this engine up out of here. I did find 2 more zip ties that he's going to get to go under and cut, and that should be it. Then we just rig up the cherry picker and pluck this thing out of here. And then, I mean, hopefully that's it. I'm a little concerned about the oil in the intake runners. I was actually doing some reading, and comment down below what you think it could be, other things that I'm missing. I read that there's a potential that the rocker arm bolts actually penetrate into that housing, and if they're not sealed, the oil can actually leak down through those and bleed into the intake runners. I don't know if that applies to 799 heads. That's something that I just found real quick on the internet. But anyways, comment down below. Let me know what you think it could be. I've had the intake standing on end here for a little while to see if any oil is going to come out of it, and so far nothing has come out. You know, thinking maybe in theory that there was some oil blow by, because I really don't want it to be blow by, and I really don't want it to be valve seals. But anyways, I'm gonna take a break, wait for my help to get here, and then we're gonna pluck this thing out of here. Okay, it is that time. I finally got my helper back. We are rigged up to the cherry picker here. Got our chains tension just right, I think. Hooked front and back, and then also got transmission is supported underneath. So here's the plan. I think I'm gonna have you run this. So every time you lift up, you pump down, it's gonna lift. And so what we need to do, we need to lift engine and transmission up at the same time. So everything's unbolted, but they need to come up together so we can clear the motor mounts. Once those are clear, then the motor has to come forward, but the transmission has to stay supported. So couple different things are going to happen. Engine is going to come up, transmission is going to come up. The car, the whole car, since we're taking all the weight off of it, it's also going to come up a little bit. So I'm going to be underneath watching. I'll make sure the bottle jack stays tight on the transmission. And then when I tell you to, you're just going to pump that. And we're going to go up together with everything. And then you'll just do what I tell you to do. And then you can film too. So kind of just hold that up like watching this. And then just listen to my instructions. And hopefully we can pop this thing right out of there. That one moves so much faster that I can move my bottle jack down here.
Car's going up.
Yeah. I'll see this pole. All right. I'm pretty sure this side's clear. Yeah, see, we're clear over here. Now we just gotta get that side clear. This sort of stuff actually tends to get a little... There's a chain I might have to twist out of there, which isn't gonna be super convenient. I'm just trying to twist the transmission tube. Oh, well, hey, guess what?
Done.
Motor's free from transmission too. So go ahead and keep pumping. Now we'll see if we have enough height to get this thing out of here. And here's also where we find out about everything that I forgot to unhook. So just want to go up a little bit higher once we get this sensor. I should have taken these pipes off, but I was kind of wanting to hang on to these. Nothing hooked. Now we just got to hope we can get high enough to clear the car. There is a chance that we may have to pick car up, take these blocks out, and set the car down. I don't know if we're going to get the height with all my rigging here, but it'd be nice to have one of them engine plates. We could be hooked clear down here right now. Once we get up super high too. The only problem with this garage, so we're actually on a big concrete slab right now. My shop is underneath of us. So this whole slab is sloped, so we're leaning.
Oh.
What? Oh, did your stick come out? It happens. Oh, are we out of height?
We have a little bit left.
Go all the way up with your strokes. All the way up. There we go. Man, she's gonna be close. We may have to finagle it a little bit. I do not like being this high. We're getting it though. I'm really happy with how actually easy all that came apart.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. That's all we get. Oh man, we're gonna be close. We might be able to rock it a little bit. All right. Well, we can't change any of this now because we got all the weight on it, but we might be able to. Oh shoot, lowering the car down is not going to be super easy either. I don't know. I'm going to put the camera down. We're going to come up with a plan how we're going to get out of this. Yeah, we'll be right back. All right, just improvise with a little ratchet strap here to tilt the back of the motor up to get that oil pan to clear. The good news is that's a truck oil pan, and that's not going back on. Because right up here somewhere in this box, I have an LS swap oil pan from the previous build that did not work in the Camaro, but it will work in this car. And it is a lower clearance oil pan, so that's going to go back on here. So it's like this kind of stuff right here. I'd like to know why. I come across a lot of things in this build that at first they don't look quite right, and then the more I look, I figure out why it was done that way for clearance issues, making parts go. So here's the other big thing. I was really worried about how this was installed. I don't understand this washer right here. That has me a little worried. Why would somebody put a washer in that one? I'm really hoping that those threads aren't messed up in that crank, because that would be no bueno. Otherwise, this thing popped right out. That was kind of nice. And now we're left with all of this, which I'm kind of excited about this because we're actually, you know, between the old build and this one, the biggest difference, things that are going to change, is I learned a lot on the last car, and I'm excited to change this one and make it my own. Actually, we're going to make it our own, because I've got a helper on this project. While the engine's out, I'm going to clean this engine bay all up. We're going to gut everything that we don't need. I mean, we're literally going to start from scratch because a lot of this stuff was just done in a way that I don't prefer. So is the nicest way of putting it. Like all of this wiring is coming through just a very crude cut hole in the firewall, and the metal is still there, which I'm not a huge fan of. But we're going to go through, sorry, I'm looking at stuff now. We're going to go through and make it our own. We're going to clean everything up. I actually want to paint this whole engine bay. We're going to keep whatever of the car stuff that we need, and you know, for the lights and that kind of stuff, but otherwise we're running off a Terminator X. Maybe it's a Dominator. Is it Dominator? No, I'm pretty sure it's Terminator X Max. Running off of that, so we'll get rid of everything that we don't need. We'll keep everything that we need. We're going to clean this all up. The other thing, like the more I look around this car, the more, evidently for an LS swap, you got to clearance this right here. That entire tunnel is just beat to crap with a sledgehammer, and this obviously was beat to death with a sledgehammer. The rear fenders were clearanced with a sledgehammer, so while, again, I will say, and I will admit that this car worked, it was fast, it ran good, it was built with zip ties and a sledgehammer, which, you know, I'm not going to judge, but it's just not the way that I would do it. So, yeah, we've got our work cut out for us now. We're going to get that engine put on a stand. We're going to keep working on our mock-up for our turbos. or twin turbos that are going to go on this. I don't know if we'll yank the transmission out or not to check it over. I don't really see the need at this particular point. And yeah, we're gonna start from scratch. So anyways, if you like, please subscribe to the channel, help us out. Someday it'd be super nice if I wasn't laying on the floor on creepers anymore doing this. So help me out, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and follow along. This is gonna be a fun build. We're gonna try and go fast with it because I wanna run this car like this year, get into some racing action at our local track. So yeah, that's gonna be it. So thanks for watching. Dadgummit, stay good. See you later.